Now for this, you're going to want to fill this out using Cami. However, I'm going to do the first couple problems with you, so you're going to want to fill it in on there and then continue doing the rest on your own. So let's get started. Again, you're filling it in on Cami. So it says Punnett square story problems. The gene that controls whether or not a person can produce the pigment melanin, which contributes or adds to the color of skin, eyes, and hair. Some people have the hereditary condition, we know heredity means coming from parents, albinism. They are not able to produce melanin and have little or no pigment in their skin and hair. One allele of this gene codes for melanin production in normally pigmented skin and hair. It is symbolized by a capital A. Another allele of this gene codes for albinism. It is symbolized by a lowercase a. So it says both parents produce melanin. However, they have a child with albinism. How is this possible? Well, if both parents produce melanin, and we know that melanin pigment is dominant, that must mean that they are, we'll just use the letter A. They are either homozygous dominant or heterozygous. However, they have a child with albinism. We know the only way that you can get albinism, because it's recessive, is lowercase a, lowercase a. So we're trying to figure out how this is possible. Well, let's try, I don't know, big A, big A, little a. Well, that looks like it works because we've got our, right there would be our albinism. But just for grins, let's try the other. Let's try maybe this way. Well, those would all have pigment because it's got the dominant allele, so that's not possible. Let's go on to the next one. So how is this possible? It must mean that the parents are heterozygous. Now let's go on to the next one. It says, if a parent who produces melanin is crossed with a parent who has albinism, what is the likelihood of their offspring producing melanin? So we know melanin's got to be big A or heterozygous or homozygous dominant. And we know albinism, the only way you can get that is homozygous recessive, so little a, little a. What is the likelihood of their offspring producing melanin? Well, parent who produces melanin is crossed with a parent who doesn't. So we'll just say, we'll try parent 1 as both our sets and parent 2 with albinism, and we'll see what we get. All right, well, if we're looking at the homozygous parent 1, this right here would produce, this is the albinism because it's recessive. However, here all this dominant would show through, so that's not possible. So 2 out of 4, or 1/2, which is 50% likelihood that that will happen. All right, let's do one more together. Number 3. The ability to curl your tongue up on the sides is dominant to not being able to roll your tongue. A woman who can roll her tongue marries a man who cannot. Their first child has the father's phenotype. So if we're saying the mom can roll her tongue, and we know that rolling your tongue is dominant, let's just use the letter T. So it could be homozygous dominant or heterozygous. However, the man cannot, and the only way you cannot is recessive, so that's lowercase. And it's asking for genotype. Genotype is our genetics. So father has got to be little t. And the first child has the father's phenotype. So phenotype meaning the father cannot roll their tongue. So the only way that you can show not rolling your tongue is to have lowercase t. So we know that this is dad. And now we got to figure out what mom can be. Well, if we know the kid can roll their tongue, I'm just going to put little t, because that's the only way, because it's the father's phenotype. Well, this has got to go over here. This has got to go up here. And we'll figure this out. The only way the mom is either big T or big T little t. It's got to be big T here, because we already know that this, due to right here, has got to be big T. So the mom has got to be heterozygous. And you're going to go ahead and finish the rest.